I was stunned twice today. First of all, Apple has canceled its electric car project completely after working on it for nearly 10 years. Just all of that effort and money wasted. Apple made the disclosure internally on Tuesday, surprising the nearly 2,000 employees working on the project. Apple tried to make an EV for 10 years. It has a cash pile of $160 billion and still ultimately came to the conclusion that it's too hard and that margins would be too small even at a $100,000 price. Apple certainly did not have to cancel the plans. They have so much money. They could even buy Rivian with a relatively small piece of their cash pile. Needless to say, this is great news for Tesla. I am absolutely stunned. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I thought it was a joke, but it's not a joke. Dano, the Tesla enemy, the guy that pays millions of dollars to criticize Tesla in his paid ads, says, "I am pleased to announce that I bought the 3 lost Tesla Roadsters that were found in a shipping container in China. I named them Brandy, Thandy, and Nandy to go with the original 2 Candy and Mandy. Thankfully, Elon Musk's defective self-driving software isn't installed." As far as I can tell, Dano absolutely despises Tesla, and here he is buying 3 Roadsters worth $1 million. Gordon Johnson is already weird, but Dano just takes it to a whole new level. Tesla makes such great products, even the biggest haters are customers. And now some good news. The Tesla Model Y just received the highest possible safety rating, and that is despite the tougher standards. That's sort of expected, really. You can see some of the scores here. Now, seatbelts and child restraints, latch ease of use, average. I guess that's specifically for child restraints because seatbelts work without any issues at all. And Vince Palomares from S&P Global Mobility said there's a lot of strong interest in Tesla. Tesla loyalty has remained very strong, and I think that's kind of overshadowed what the other OEMs are doing at this point. I also think anyone that ever gets in a crash in a Tesla is going to be buying another Tesla because obviously it's a safe vehicle, and some of these people are then talking about their experience all the time, telling everyone how safe the vehicle is, which does create a little bit more demand for Tesla. This is Tesla's website in France. I translated this with Google Translate. It says it's a limited time offer. You can get 4,000 euros if you buy a new Model 3 that's in stock, as long as you take delivery, I assume, before the end of the quarter, but you have to order before March 17th. Yeah, the end of the quarter is coming and we are seeing more promotions just like always, so this is nothing new really. And we got deliveries from China, 10,800 for the previous week. Keep in mind, we just had Chinese New Year, and Chinese New Year is bigger in China than Christmas is in the West, generally speaking. 10,800, not a bad number considering it was the Chinese New Year. The next week I would expect it to be stronger. And you can see in green Q1 of 2023 of last year, and there was also a dip around the Chinese New Year. This is where we are at right now. Anyway, Roland thinks it's a good first week after the Chinese New Year. Also, generally speaking, Q1 in China, it's always not exactly great. If you want to compare year-over-year numbers, it's up 12% in China. AJ Ashley was only expecting 8,000 and we got 10,800. We got another of his DV12 video. Let's take a look.
Oh, it's gonna turn. Not where I wanted to go.
So
it's going the wrong way.
I think it had to go a little bit further and then turn right.
So I'm gonna let it do its thing.
Turning here.
Oh. It definitely went the wrong way. So let's see what it's gonna do. Is it gonna do a U-turn? It's sure gonna do a U-turn. There you go.
All right.
Wow. All right. Now we're gonna turn right on this light. That was pretty good. It went the wrong way, and then it just did a U-turn, and we're back on track. We're turning on this entrance right.
So the destination was right here. Omar says, with FSD Beta 1, I had my first takeover within 10 seconds. On FSD 12, I can go entire days without a takeover. If you had seen the evolution I have, you would be excited too. I didn't quite know that he doesn't have takeovers for days with FSD 12. That's really impressive. I know it's San Francisco, but still. Days without takeovers with just cameras only, no LiDAR, nothing? It's exciting. Looks like Tesla Cybertrucks will not have Steam Gaming because of hardware limitations. Cybertrucks have 8 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage. And Cybertrucks might not have discrete GPUs, but also Steam has not been mentioned on any of Tesla's marketing materials related to Cybertruck. So it's not like Tesla is breaking any promises here. So right now, the average pickup price in the US is more than $60,000. And today, the cheapest Foundation Series Cybertruck costs $100,000. That's a lot of money. But next year, assuming everything goes to plan, you will be able to buy this Cybertruck for about $61,000, but after incentives, it will be about $53,500, making it cheaper than the average pickup truck on the market. I am not so sure that people will be getting these rear-wheel drive Cybertrucks next year because there's probably going to be a lot of demand for the all-wheel drive versions. But if it doesn't happen next year, then 2026 is the year, I think. I don't think Detroit is looking forward to this moment. And to anyone that doubted that Tesla would ever even make a Cybertruck, send this video to them. This is a fleet of Cybertrucks ready to be delivered to real customers. We know that the SEC has been running after Elon Musk to further interview him over his Twitter acquisition, subpoenaed him several times. Elon's lawyer kept giving the SEC excuses to dodge the interviews because at this point it's basically harassing Elon Musk. At one point, the excuse was that Elon Biography was coming out and they assumed the SEC would want to review it before interviewing Elon again. Fred thinks it's funny, but I think that makes sense because why do you want to ask questions that would already be answered in this 500-page biography? Sorry, it's actually 688 pages. Read the whole book before asking Elon questions again. I got the audio version, so I didn't quite know how many pages there were, but it was a long audiobook. Seems like there is an issue with Tesla's referral program where many orders and test drives are not being counted. So you go for a test drive, your friend goes, and you're supposed to get some credits for that, but seemingly some people are saying that they're not getting any. And in this instance, someone even got a delivery and that delivery was not counted. Seems like Omar is having a similar issue himself too. Like half of the test drive he signed up for, the 1,000 points didn't go through, he says. And at the 2 Model Y my uncle's ordered, we only got credit for 1. And looking at this, it seems like it's not a very rare thing. It certainly has happened quite a few times. Someone says, what I found out is that you can only refer someone once for a demo drive. Even if they demo drive another model, it won't count. I guess that makes sense. Also, once you refer someone to a demo drive, your referral is linked to their account. So if they buy a car, you automatically receive the credits. But how come some people are not getting the credits? Maybe that person created a new account and bought the Tesla through a different account? Anyway, whatever the issue is, seems like there's something going on because I also saw some people saying that they definitely know that their friend used their referral code and they didn't get the credit. But also many people are saying that it works fine without an issue. Someone says that he received credits for 6 of the 7 demo drives he referred someone to. Someone says had 2 purchases and received 0 credits. I'm pretty sure the sales reps are inputting their own referral codes. Anyway, Tesla definitely needs to look into this issue. A BYD executive was on TV and talked about Tesla a little bit.
We feel like we have a high respect for Tesla. They are marketing leader. They give a great education for the market. Without them, I think the global EV market could not run so rapidly. So we will respect them a lot. I think they are a partner. and also they are we together, we can really help the whole world to educate the market, to pushing the market for transaction, and pushing the whole auto industry to transact to the future electric car.
What do you tell that driver that's looking at these two cars? You're saying that BYD is a tech company. Elon Musk says Tesla is a tech company as well. What's the value proposition? What is the BYD car in comparison to the biggest competitor out there, which is Tesla?
That's a very interesting question. I asked our team in China, because Tesla is very successful in China. The overlap for BYD and Tesla customer is less than 15%. Less than 15%. So you can see we don't need even to convince them, because we only have an overlap of 15%. All the EV company, we are the partner. Our real competition is ICE car company. ICE car is not EV. Yeah. The more people jump in to produce EV, PHEV, is better for the industry.
McKinsey and China EV People Congress issued a joint research paper just now forecasting that new energy vehicles, so EVs and hybrids, that their market share will reach 50% globally by 2030. If you include hybrids in that calculation, I think the number will be higher than that. The Ford CEO is testing out their EV on a Tesla Supercharger with a CSS to NACS adapter. Yeah, you will no longer really need to buy a Tesla to access most of or a large portion of Tesla supercharging network. You can buy a Ford now too. This is a pretty interesting point. So we know that a lot of Republicans are not exactly pro EVs. But IRA subsidies, the $7,500 tax credit, for example, have overwhelmingly benefited Republican states. That may make its provision supporting domestic manufacturing hard to repeal, even if the next president is not a Democrat. This shows where new US manufacturing and mining is ramping up. It's mostly red. So these are Republican areas. Razat says Tesla's robotaxi will break transportation for a regular Uber ride in a Toyota Corolla. 82% of the total cost per mile, very conservatively, is the driver. Once you remove the driver, cost per mile goes from 85 cents to 15 cents. So why would anyone hail a ride that's 5 times more? Yesterday I had a tricky car situation, so I had to get an Uber ride, and my total fare back and forth was well over $60. So with tips, well over $70. With a robotaxi, that would have only been about maybe $15 and no tip. I'm talking about Canadian dollars though. One thing that I wish I was able to do yesterday, if it was a robotaxi, it would have been no problem at all. But because I'm a gentleman and I don't feel like I want to annoy anyone or disturb anyone, yeah, I'm not going to make a personal call and talk about regular day-to-day things, some of which might be a little private. It would just feel weird to talk about the consequences of eating spicy food, the consequences that happen in the bathroom later. Definitely not an acceptable topic with people around you. Warren points out though that the numbers will be very different in less wealthy countries, and that's a 100% true point, but there are quite a few wealthy countries. All right, the 2024 Canadian International Auto Show set a new attendance record with 372,000 people. That's a lot of people. How do they all fit in there? How long does this show last? Tesla, of course, had all of their vehicles there, including the Cybertruck, a lot of eyeballs for very little cost. Okay, the event lasts for 10 days. All right, I like this. This is pretty cool. Tesla has launched a new virtual assistant in the mobile app called Tesla Assist. The tool provides quick answers to common questions like, how often should I have my Model 3 serviced? The tool, which is still in beta, can be accessed in the app whenever you see a question in the top right corner. But unfortunately, it does not know the answer to when will the Cybertrucks be delivered in Canada, or when will FSD be solved. But despite that, it's a welcome feature, definitely. I wonder if it runs on Grok. I've been playing around with Grok, which is X's ChatGPT. One thing that I like about it is that it has some real-time information, access to some real-time news. So sometimes it gives me better answers than ChatGPT, but I do find ChatGPT to be a little bit better overall. If there's no need to have access to current information, I do prefer ChatGPT for now a little bit more. However, if I'm researching something, I usually go and use both because they do give slightly different answers. I think there is some truth in this, but I don't think all of this is correct. But let me go through this first. Gary replied to Tavi here by saying, Sally, this is probably correct. He said, there's a group of Tesla influencers who monetize their activity on the platform. And as that monetization scales with engagement, and as engagement skyrockets whenever their posts or replies get interacted with by Elon, their focus is on always being flattering towards Elon at the exclusion of basic objectivity. It's that group who, in their relentless efforts to praise everything Elon does and to shoot down any criticism towards him or Tesla, along with a larger group of useful idiots, people who uncritically trust whatever those in the first group proclaim, who cause the most division within the community. Okay, just think about this for 1 second. Today, I went through Omar's catalog, Omar account, and clearly he's being quite critical about Tesla's referral program. And also, we have seen Elon Musk reply to James, and James sometimes is incredibly critical of Elon Musk. There are some that do praise Elon quite a bit though, but some of these people also don't really shy away from being critical. Maybe not as critical as they otherwise would be, but still, Omar can be pretty critical at times. But also he's occasionally incredibly optimistic. Anyway, Fred, the electric reporter, jumped into this discussion as well. This is fascinating to me. I've been claiming that this group of Tesla influencers have broken Elon's feedback loop for years, but he sees tweets from James as well, and clearly he is often very critical. Tesla bears have been claiming falsely that Tesla and or Elon have been paying these people to promote Tesla. Now, Elon has found a way to pay them. Twitter monetization plus amplification. You make almost no money though on Twitter. I heard Farzad say that something like 1% of his total revenue comes from Twitter. 99% comes from YouTube. And by the way, if we are going to make it an issue that some of these people that post positive things about Tesla on X are somehow a problem because they can make a little bit of money from Twitter ads, then you sort of have to make the same argument about Tesla bears and these Tesla Q accounts. They are also being paid to promote negativity about Tesla then, aren't they? Although they will have a harder time getting monetized to meet the minimum threshold requirements in terms of views and stuff like that. Largely because what they say makes absolutely no sense, so therefore not many people are actually paying attention to them. Fred continues, I guess when Elon said that he would find a way for the Twitter acquisition to be good for Tesla after he crashed the stock by selling shares and then used Tesla engineers to help run the company after he fired everyone. That's what he meant, paying Tesla influencers with Twitter money, but I don't know how good this is for Tesla despite what you hear here. Twitter's reach is small compared to other platforms. As a side effect of the whole Twitter acquisition, Elon Musk did get a bigger following, although many people think that he's now more divisive than before. But he did repost today this about Tesla, that the Tesla brand won the overall loyalty to make, and this already got 1.4 million views, and that the Tesla Model Y received the highest possible safety rating. This was 3 hours ago, and already it got 10 million views. It will probably get well over 20 million views. Elon reposted another post from Tesla. It got 2.3 million views. In addition to other possible ways, I think one of the main ways that Elon Musk thinks the Twitter acquisition is going to help Tesla is by saving free speech or helping to protect it. I think his thinking is if there's no free speech, if attack on free speech continues, then stocks eventually, things like that, are not really going to be worth much. So it's not really helping Tesla shareholders very directly. It's sort of in a roundabout way. Anyway, I think that's what Elon Musk probably thinks. And that's one reason why he's getting political. But I think these political tweets help bring a lot of attention to X. Now, some of these, you can make an argument that they are somewhat damaging to Tesla's brand, perhaps, if Elon makes an extremely controversial comment, but it certainly helps X. Alexander says, this is important, time-sensitive information for all Tesla shareholders. Tesla shareholders will have to vote on some very sensitive subjects soon. If you are invested in ETFs or funds, you're handing your vote to the fund manager. Consider holding Tesla stock directly to be able to vote. I think Steven is absolutely right here. My hot take is that the votes of ETFs and funds holding shares of companies should automatically vote per board recommendations or not be able to vote. It is messed up that those holding stocks on behalf of others can vote on behalf of others, often contrary to their wishes. SpaceX just provided us with an update about the second Starship launch, which happened on November 18th. SpaceX, of course, learned a lot from that launch, but it still ended with a boom. And we don't want to see that, ideally. SpaceX says the most likely root cause for the booster RUD was determined to be filter blockage, where liquid oxygen is supplied to the engines, leading to a loss of inlet pressure in engine oxidizer turbopumps that eventually resulted in one engine failing in a way that resulted in loss of the vehicle. That's written so beautiful. Resulted in a loss of a vehicle. Of course, SpaceX has made changes and this issue should be now fixed. I'm looking forward to many Starship launches this year. BYD America boss says, we're not planning to come to the US. It's an interesting market, but it's very complicated if you're talking about EVs. She added that if a car company does not invest in EVs, you are out, you will die, you have no future, and I think she's right. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in tomorrow's episode. FSD V12 continues to impress. It certainly navigates parking lots quite smoothly, like a person would, largely. Yeah, so that's really exciting. I'm looking forward to getting FSD V12 in my vehicle and trying it myself. When Omar drives it, it looks beautiful. It looks really good. I don't expect it to work nowhere near as well in my car here in Canada, but I do expect it to work quite a bit better than V11.